started. First, I want to say good morning to everybody, and I hope that everybody continues to stay safe and healthy during these crazy times. And I want to wish everybody a happy holiday to all. And Lifelong Westfield and the Westfield Police Department are very excited to welcome everybody to our first senior scam protection seminar. That's a mouthful. But on a sideline, I also would like to thank the Westfield Police Department so very much. They have been absolutely wonderful partners to Lifelong. And besides, they have been absolutely tremendous in keeping us in Westfield safe and healthy. And my hat is off to them for going so far over and above. So I just want to thank Chief Bataloro and the Westfield Police Department so much for everything that they have been doing. Also, just in closing, I want to advise all seniors who are not currently on our contact list for Lifelong Westfield to please send your email address to westfieldnjseniors@gmail.com or by calling us at 908-301-1287. And that is our wonderful connection at the rec department so that we can get your connection information. But again, everybody are happy and healthy. We'll be chatting after the seminar, but at this point, I just want to turn this over to Chief Bataloro. And again, thank you to everybody for joining us today. And Chief Bataloro, it's all yours.
Thank you, Brad. How's everybody doing today?
Hi, thank
Good.
you.
Well, I think it's great that we can gather like this in the middle of a pandemic. So this is certainly good. We're going to record this, make sure it gets up on our social media accounts so those that are not here today can watch this. I wrote a letter for the seniors newsletter, kind of bringing attention to you guys that this is the season for being scammed. We're seeing so many scams out there, so much fraudulent activity, the theft of your identities. I think this presentation that Detective DaSilva is going to give for us this is the prime time, the right time of year to be doing this. I read every single report that our officers take. They come across my desk every day. The amount of fraudulent activity occurring these days is mind-boggling. People's identities are being stolen. They're being scammed out of money. And, some of these scams, the protection of our personal information, the breaches are beyond our control. There's nothing that we could have done to prevent that breach of our personal information. But I can tell you, there are a lot of things that we can do to protect our personal information. And many times, our own actions have compromised our identities and have led to fraudulent activity. I'd like to introduce Detective DaSilva this morning. Detective DaSilva is one of 7 detectives assigned to our investigative division. He is probably our foremost expert in the investigation of financial crimes. Dennis came to us a number of years ago from the Union County Sheriff's Office, where he was assigned to their crime scene unit, and he has a wealth of experience when it comes to conducting criminal investigations. So Dennis is going to give you a short presentation this morning. And the big thing that I want you to take away from this is that if you think you're being scammed, you probably are. So before you do anything, before you release any personal information, before you go out and buy green dot money cards and transfer money, call us, all right? Do not think that you are bothering us. We are here to serve you. We are here to protect you. So if you get these scam phone calls, if you think something's not right, I'm telling you, it probably isn't right. So before you fall victim, if you have any doubt in your mind, call us. Call the main number, speak to a desk officer. We'll send an officer. We'll let you know. We'll conduct our own follow-up on the back end here, but the chances are if you think you are being scammed, you are. If anybody's asking you to go out and buy green dot money cards, any type of prepaid money cards, and then to go back and call them and transfer the information on the back of those cards to them or to transfer monies to them, believe me, you are being scammed. So do not fall for it. When in doubt, call us first. We are here for you. Don't think you're bothering us. We are here to be bothered. So with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Detective DaSilva. Like I said, he's a very experienced criminal investigator. We're very fortunate to have him here at the Westfield Police Department. How we stole him from the sheriff's office where he was doing crime scene work, I don't know. But anyway, Detective DaSilva, go ahead, take it over.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and attending this presentation. I want to thank Mr. Chinanna here and Chief Battaloro for giving me the opportunity to speak to you all today. Now, I provided you all here with a presentation. It's going to be PowerPoints. There's also going to be videos, but a lot of the information in there, if you're not taking notes, don't worry about it. You don't feel like you need to, because I also have pamphlets that I can provide to you all afterwards if you need it. To get those pamphlets, all you have to do is reach out to me directly. I'll give you my information, or send an email out to the police department, or to reach out to Mr. Chinanna, and we'll coordinate, getting those pamphlets to you. So this presentation, it's called the Top 10 Things You Can Do to Avoid Identity Theft and Other Scams. Now, I've done these presentations in the past, and it's very close to my heart because I've done hundreds of fraud investigations over the years. And one thing I've seen, a common theme through these fraud investigations is a lot of times they attack the most vulnerable members of our society, and many times those are the elderly. And I think the reason they do that is because they go after the people with the biggest hearts. They know that if they reach out to people who just want to help, they just want to be open and forthcoming, they know that they can scam them. There are people out there, it's sad to say, but it's as if they're raised by wolves. They don't have a conscience, they don't have a heart, so they will target the elderly. They'll target the people who, again, as I say, care the most. And the goal of this presentation is to help stop it before it starts. Again, I've done hundreds of these investigations. Prior to working in law enforcement, I actually worked in wealth management. So I have a large background in finance and accounting. So I can see, where the crimes happen. I can try to track where they go. Many times these crimes come from over state lines, which makes it very difficult. Sometimes these calls and these scams come from different countries. So it's very difficult to work, but we will always do our best to try to serve the members of this community and try to go after the people who are targeting our citizens. But again, the best thing to do is to stop it before it starts. So the goal of this presentation is to give you a lot of information that you may have not had earlier, and hopefully you'll be able to be like, well, you know what, I got this kind of call. I'm glad I didn't get this information. Or if you get this call in the future, then you could be, you know what, I see the scam. I see where they're trying to go with this. Now I'm going to stop it. I'm going to hang up the phone. Because something as simple as hanging up the phone on someone, I know some people feel, they don't want to be rude and just hang up the phone, but sometimes it's okay to do that because you can see where this is going. So again, I ask you all, if you can, mute your computers on your end. I'm going to try and mute this on my end, but just to make sure that everything's working properly, if you can mute it on your end and save all questions till the end, just to go through this presentation. And then I'll try to answer anything I can at the end. And again, I know we'll have pamphlets for everyone who needs it. So again, my name is Detective Dennis DaSilva, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the Westfield Police Department and Chief Christopher Battaloro. The very first question we're going to ask, what is identity theft? When someone uses information about you without your permission. The information can be your name and address, credit card or bank account numbers, social security numbers, medical insurance account numbers. What can a thief do with your information? They can buy things with your credit cards. They can get new credit cards. They can open a phone, electricity, or gas account. They can steal your tax refund. They can place liens against your home. They can get medical care. They can pretend to be you if they are arrested. Why should you care if someone steals your identity? You will be responsible for what the thief does while using your personal information. This is true even if you do not know about the bills. Identity theft can hurt your credit. How do you know if someone's stealing your identity? You have to do a little bit of homework. You have to read your bills when you get them. Watch for your bank account statements. If you see charges that you know you didn't make, you have to stop, you have to pick up the phone, call the bank account and inquire as to what happened. Check your mail. Make sure if you're getting mail on a regular basis, then all of a sudden you're not getting certain bills, there could be a problem there. Maybe reach out to your post office to find out why you're not getting mail. get your credit report. That last line, get your credit report. I'm going to go into that more so in a moment. That's a great tool because your credit report shows your entire credit history. So you'll be able to review the information that's on there. Any charges or any accounts that you didn't open, any credit card accounts that you did not open, you will know by looking at your credit history. Everything's summarized there entirely. So you'll be able to spot out where the potential fraud could be coming from. I'm going to play the first video for us. If you could just watch that, and then I'll continue on right after.
Identity theft happens. It's an unfortunate fact of modern life. But there are certain steps you can take to help keep your personal information from falling into the wrong hands. Every day you do things to protect what's most important to you. And you know what? You do them almost automatically. Routine things like looking both ways before you cross, brushing your teeth, and buckling your seatbelt. Another routine to get into is keeping tabs on your identity and personal information. Here are 5 easy ways you can do it. Read your credit card and bank statements carefully and often. Know your payment due dates. If a bill doesn't show up when you expected, look into it. Read the statements from your health insurance plan. Make sure the claims paid match the care you got. Shred any documents with personal and financial information. Review each of your 3 credit reports at least once a year. It's easy and it's free. And before you know it, protecting your personal information can be as routine as locking your doors at night. For more tips and tools on dealing with identity theft, visit ftc.gov/ID theft. That's ftc.gov/ID theft.
Now, we mentioned how to get your credit report. Everyone is entitled to a free credit report once a year, so you don't even have to pay for it. All you have to do is go to www.annualcreditreport.com. You can get a free credit report. I recommend everyone, as soon as they're done with this presentation, to go on there, get your free credit report. Because again, you can look at every bank account or every credit account opened up under your name. Now, I'll give you an example. When I was 19 years old, I opened up certain credit card accounts at different electronics stores. And then after time went on, I forgot I had those accounts. Those accounts closed on their own, but they still remained on my credit account. I forgot I even had those credit card accounts opened initially, but they're there. So the history is there. Now, why that's important is because if people are opening up any kind of credit accounts under your name and you're not aware of it, they will show up on this report. So that's one of the best clues just to find out if there is a problem. It costs nothing. You can do it once a year for free. So I highly recommend it. I'm going to play the next video for you.
Shopping for a car? Applying for a job? Looking for a home? Or just getting your financial house in order? Then it's time to check your credit report. Good news, it's free. The law entitles you to 1 free copy of your credit report from each of the 3 nationwide credit reporting companies every 12 months. Why is it important to check your credit report? It has important information about your financial accounts, how you pay your bills, and if you file for bankruptcy. You want to make sure everything is accurate, especially before you buy a house or a car or apply for a job. If you notice something wrong, contact the credit reporting company and business providing the information to correct the error. And checking your report can help you guard against identity theft. Visit ftc.gov/ID theft if you spot accounts that aren't yours. How do you order your free credit report? Order online from annualcreditreport.com, the only authorized website for free credit reports, or call 1-877-322-8228. You'll need to provide your name, address, social security number, and date of birth to verify your identity. Keep in mind, you're entitled to 1 free copy of your credit report every 12 months from each of the 3 nationwide credit reporting companies. So the next time someone asks, how's your credit? You'll have the answer. To order your free credit report, visit annualcreditreport.com or call 1-877-322-8228.
Okay, now you have your credit report. What's the next step? Does your report have the right information? Do you recognize the accounts that are listed? Look at the inquiry section to see who has checked your credit. Can you protect yourself from identity theft? Not 100%, but you can lower your risk. You can protect your information at home, when you shop, or do other business, and online. How can you protect your personal information at home? Very simply, keep financial records, social security card, and health insurance information in a safe place. Shred papers with personal information. Take mail out of your mailbox every day. How can you protect your personal information when you shop? When you shop in a store, watch your wallet. Be careful with your credit and debit cards. Do not tell anyone your PIN. Now, anyone who does online shopping, I do, so again, I'm guilty of that as well. But when you do online shopping, what do you need for these different online accounts? You need to create an account with them, right? An online account. So many times they ask you questions. Say if you forget your logon, they ask you your city of birth. They ask you where you went to high school. They ask you your school mascot. Now, what do many people do? They write the real city of birth. They write the real high school they attended. Sometimes you think just doing that is easier for you to remember, but by placing the real information, anyone who compromised your credit history, anyone who compromised your identity is going to have that information. So then they can continue with their fraud by going into other accounts. And then all they do is they hit those links saying, I forgot my email or I forgot my password. And they answer like the questions with the answers they already know. And then they get access to more and more. So the best thing you can do is very simply start to be creative with your passwords. Don't use the most obvious ones, because if it's obvious to you, it may also be obvious to somebody else. How can you protect your personal information when you shop? When you shop online, use passwords that are hard for someone to guess. Do not respond to emails or other messages that have personal information. Do not put personal information on the computer in a public space like a library or a coffee shop, and shop on secure websites. Now, when you shop on secure websites, one of the easiest ways to verify that is just look at the very top where it has like the actual address, https://www. If it has the S at the end of it, you know the website is secure. That's one of the ways to check. There also is a little lock icon, usually on somewhere on the screen. When you may not see it initially on the website, but if you are checking out and you're purchasing something online, you need to verify that there's a little lock, it is visible, and that you have the HTTPS, the S is for security, that has to be there. If that information isn't there, that S and that little lock, that's not a secured website, and anybody who has any kind of computer experience can be watching your information as you enter it. So just look out for that as well. How can you protect your information with other businesses? Only give your social security number if you must, and if you can use another kind of information, do so. Do not give your personal information to someone who calls you or emails you. Again, other than a family member, no one should be asking you for your personal information over the telephone. What if someone steals your identity? Act fast. Take 3 simple steps immediately. Place a fraud alert on your credit reports. Once you place a fraud alert on your credit reports, that is going to freeze the account so that no one can continue creating additional charges or additional accounts. Order copies of your credit reports, create an identity theft report. After you get those initial credit reports, you could reach out to the Federal Trade Commission to have an account with them, but most importantly, contact your local police department. And in this case, the Westfield Police Department. We could create a case number for you and help begin an investigation. What if someone steals your identity? Again, you place a fraud alert on your 3 credit reports. Good thing is if you call one, they all get alerted to it and they all put the hold on it. So all you have to do is call either Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. You call one, they automatically tell the other 2. Order your credit reports, as we stated before. You must call all 3 of the credit reports to get it. But again, if you call one will report it to the other. Fix any mistakes on the credit reports. Call the company with the affected account and explain the situation. Follow up with a letter and include proof if you have it. And this last step is create the identity theft report. You can file one with the Federal Trade Commission, but also get a copy of the police report or the case number. That way we can begin an investigation here. Types of common scams. We've all heard of phone scams, charity scams, IRS scams, wire scams. There's numerous of them out there. We've seen all different kinds here at the Westfield Police Department. I'm going to show you a video in a moment that shows some of the typical ones and how we can act to try to prevent them from taking advantage of us. Signs of a scam. Sometimes they'll call you and they'll say, you've been specially selected for this offer, or you'll get a free bonus if you buy our product. You've won one of 5 valuable prizes. You've won big money in a foreign lottery. This investment is a low risk and provides a higher return than you can get anywhere else. We'll just put the shipping and handling charges on your credit report. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Again, some of these foreign lotteries, if you didn't play the foreign lottery in Canada or somewhere in the Far East, there's a good chance you didn't win it, right? So we have to be a little bit realistic and it can try to question when someone says something, does this make sense? Phone scams, how do they hook you? They can promise you travel packages, credit and loans, sham or exaggerated business and investment opportunities, charitable causes. That's a big one because again, a lot of our most vulnerable members of our society are elderly. Again, they have big hearts. So they want to give and they want to help. And that's many times where these frauds come into play. Again, high stakes foreign lotteries, extended car warranties, free trial offers. Again, when you get these free trial offers, they're getting all your personal information. So they continue billing and billing and billing. And next thing you know, you're trying to cancel it and you can't even find a valid telephone number to call them. So just be careful of who calls you and why they're calling you. One thing you could do is join the National Do Not Call list. Register your home and mobile phone numbers. This won't stop all unsolicited calls, but it will stop most. All you have to do is call the donotcall.gov or go online to their website and you can get on that National Do Not Call list.
Telemarketing fraud is a crime that affects millions of Americans every year. It usually starts with a phone call. Hello, good evening, Mr. Jones. We wanted to call today to thank you for being such a good customer. And to reward you for your loyalty, we'd like to send you several valuable free gifts. Sounds good. In order to do this, we just want to verify some of the information. They were just so friendly. I didn't know they were trying to rip me off. Now I got my credit card statement. Those free gifts, they weren't free at all. Now I know better. So all you have to do is confirm the first few numbers on your bank account. It ends in 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think so. My bank account number is my business, not yours. Telemarketing scammers are good at what they do. They'll say anything and target anyone to commit fraud.
Hello. Congratulations, Ms. Smith. Your name was recently drawn as a winner in the Pan Pacific Lottery. You can collect $2 million. I didn't think that I had entered the lottery. I filled out a couple of forms at the wrong, but I didn't realize that the calls that I've been getting were connected to those forms. I'm not going to fall for that twice.
Mrs. Smith, because this is a foreign lottery, there are a few processing fees that need to be taken care of. If you send me $3,000, you can collect your winnings.
Oh, I don't think so. Goodbye.
The Federal Trade Commission and your state attorney general are working hard to stop telemarketing fraud. You can help. Recognize, report, register. First, learn to recognize the signs of telemarketing fraud, like callers who ask for money first, or who want to know your bank account, credit card, or social security number. Scammers may even have your billing information before they call you. Often, they're trying to get you to say okay so they can claim you approved a charge. Second, if you have been scammed, or you think someone is trying to scam you, report it to the Federal Trade Commission. It's as easy as going to ftc.gov and clicking on the link on the right. It's more helpful to the FTC if you can give the name or phone number of the company that called you and the date they called. Third, join the millions of Americans who have registered their phone numbers on the National Do Not Call Registry. It's easy. You can register online at donotcall.gov. Be sure to complete the process by clicking the link in the confirmation email you receive. You can also call toll-free 1-888-382-9300 1222 from the number you wish to register. And remember, although telemarketing scammers may seem friendly, they're anything but. They're trying to worm their way into your wallet. You can stop them by keeping your information to yourself, no matter how tempting the offer. Let's say goodbye to fraudulent telemarketers. Visit ftc.gov/phone fraud to learn more about how to recognize and report telemarketing fraud.
Before giving to a charity, what are some signs of a charity scam? They refuse to provide detailed information about their identity, their mission, their costs, and how the donations will be used. Perhaps they won't provide proof that a contribution is tax deductible. They thank you for making a pledge that you don't even remember making. They use high-pressure tactics. They ask you for donations in cash, or they ask you to wire money. They offer to send a courier or overnight delivery to collect the donations. They guarantee sweepstake winnings in exchange for a contribution. By law, when you give a donation to be eligible to win a sweepstakes, it has to be deductible. Charity checklists. Ask for the detailed information about the charity, including name, address, and telephone number. Give the exact name of the organization and do some research. Call the charity. If someone calls you, you don't have to give the money right away. Call the charity back at a later time after you do some research about them. Find out if the organization is aware of the solicitation and has authorized the use of their name. Find out if the charity or fundraiser must be registered in your state by contacting the National Association of State Charity Officials. Check to see if the charity is trustworthy by contacting the Better Business Bureau. Keep a record of your donations. Ask if the caller is a paid fundraiser. If so, ask the name of the charity they represent, the percentage of your donation that will go to the actual charity, how much will go to the actual cost to which you are donating, how much will go to the fundraiser. Sometimes you're giving to some of these charities and a very small percentage actually makes it to the place where it can do the most good. Spotting, avoiding, and reporting scams. Warning signs of common scams. Did someone promise you a job if you pay them? Never pay anyone who promises you a job or how to get a job or secret access to jobs. Those are all clearly scams. Did the IRS call saying you owe money? We've had a number of those over the years. The IRS will never call you to ask for money. Did someone else from the government call threatening you and demanding money? The government does not make those kind of phone calls. Looking for legal help with immigration? Use a lawyer or an accredited representative. Did you get a call or email saying you want something, except there's a fee, and we covered that earlier? Just hang up the phone. Did a caller offer to help you get back some money you lost? No government agency or business will call and demand money to help you get money back. Did you get a check from someone who asked you to give them part of the money back? That's a very common one. Fake checks can look real and fool the bank. Many times with these fake checks, the way they work is that you deposit them into your account, you think it's real, and sometimes the bank teller will even tell you, oh, it looks like it's a real check, and then you see that there's money being deposited into your account. Well, there's something with banking called trade and settle dates. It takes a typical 3 business days for the checks to settle. And initially you may think that the deposit is being made, but then when you check back 3 days later, your account is wiped out, because what they did is once they had access to your account by you making the deposit into your account, they now get your check routing number. They could withdraw money the opposite way. Did you ever have anyone walk up with you asking to provide a service, such as fixing a dent on your car in a parking lot, or perhaps knocking on your door, asking to reseal your driveway? Some of these services, again, they come in these moments and you think it may be a good deal, but they're not. They're thieves or gypsies. They try to lure you into paying money. And then you realize days later that the work they did was just terrible. We have, in the area we had over the years, we've had people resealing driveways. And then they find out afterwards, they end up not using the proper tar product to reseal the driveway. They end up using a paint product. So the first time it rains, guess what? You have an oil slick on your driveway. Again, it may look good, it may look efficient, you think it's a good price, but they're scamming you. So you have to be very careful about people just walking up to you and trying to offer you a service on the spot like that. Do you ever have a serviceman knock on your door and ask to see your home utilities? Oftentimes it's a distraction burglary. What they do is while someone is walking in the front door and you're showing them your utility services, someone is also walking in the back door, and then they're going upstairs to your bedroom and they're taking anything they can find. Here's another video for you.
We've seen a great rise in the last year on money transfer frauds. Oftentimes, people will get phone calls from a relative, someone who claims to know a relative, for someone who tells them they've won a prize, for someone who tells them they've got a wonderful business opportunity. And the key is, at some point, they have to wire money to someone they don't know. And what we're trying to tell the public is, if you're ever asked to wire money to someone you don't know, it's likely a scam. Stop, think, and make sure that the person that you think you're sending money to is someone who's legitimate, someone who in fact is a relative, or someone who you have a pre-existing relationship. The problem is that money wire scams come in all shapes and sizes. We see scams that we call the grandparent scams. These are phone calls from people who purport to know a grandchild or even from a grandchild, saying that they're in trouble in a foreign city or in a remote place and they need money quickly. And then the caller suggests sending money by wire. And so money is sent by wire to a friend, someone who claims to be a friend of a relative or a grandchild. The money is transferred and it disappears. Once it's wired, it evaporates. There's no way for you to get it back. And we're seeing a real rise in those kinds of scams. Other kinds of scams are what we call the prize scams. You're called up, you're told that you've won a prize. All you need to do is give them to wire some money, and then they will send you the prize, or they'll ask you to send them a check so they have information about your checking account, and they will drain your money. And so these kinds of scams take all kinds of forms, but the bottom line rule is that if you're asked to wire money to someone you don't know, it's almost certainly a scam. One scam we're seeing a lot of, wire scams, starts with you getting a check from someone you don't know. And as soon as you deposit that check, and that person will be asking you to use that check for some of your own purposes, and then to wire them some money back. The problem is the bank has to clear your check within a couple of days, even before it's certain that the check is valid. And and this happens all the time, if you wire money back thinking there's money in your account, and it turns out, as it often does, that the check is a fake, you, not the bank, are liable for those overdrafts. So people are looking for work and will get a call from someone who says, for instance, they've been selected to be a mystery shopper, and they will soon get a check for thousands of dollars that will pay not only their salary, but will pay them to go shop at stores, at sort of stores that are available everywhere. They'll cash the check, the bank will clear the check because the bank doesn't have any choice, and then they'll go out, spend some money, and wire money back to their employer. So they think. But they're not wiring back the employer's money because that check was fake. What they're doing is they're wiring money they don't have, but they will be liable for, and they will end up in debt as a result of this. Let me make one thing clear. Money transfers are a useful way to get money to people you know, you've had dealings with in the past, quickly and efficiently. What we're worried about is using money transfers to send money to people you don't know or haven't had any dealings with in the past. That's a red flag that oftentimes is not a false alarm. So suppose you fall and prey to one of these scams that you sent a wire transfer to someone you don't know, or you've cashed a check that turns out to be fake and sent a wire transfer based on that. the first thing you should do is report that incident to the wire transfer company so it can conduct an investigation. Then please file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. You can do that either through our website at ftc.gov, or you can do it by phone at 1-877-FTC-HELP.
Ten things you can do to avoid identity theft. Spot imposters is number one. Number two, do online searches. Do some research before you donate money. Number three, don't believe your caller ID. Number four, don't pay upfront for a promise. Number five, consider how you pay or how they're asking you to pay. Number six, talk to someone. If something doesn't sound right, call a friend, call the police department. We can help investigate the matter for you before you start giving away your hard-earned money. Hang up on robocalls. Some of these robocalls, they ask you to press number one or button number two to continue with the rest of it. All that does is just, it's going to continue with more messages. You're going to get more robocalls. If you get a robocall, just hang up. Number eight, be skeptical about free trial offers. If it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. Number nine, don't deposit a check and wire money back. Again, I explained briefly about the trade and settle dates, is that you may think that you see it on your account, you think the money is there, but by the time everything settles after several business days, you're going to realize that the money was actually never there. That was just the bank going through its regular process. And then once your routing number hits, again, it's a two-way street. So depositing that check, whether it's fraudulent or not, the other side, the payer, and the payee, they're going to see your routing number. They'll be able to wire money back and forth. Number 10, sign up for a free scam alert from the FTC at ftc.gov. Why you? Everyone's a potential target. Fraud isn't limited to race, ethnic backgrounds, gender, age, education, or income. That said, some scams seem to target certain groups more than others. For example, older people may be targeted because they presume you may live alone, you may have a nest egg, or you may just be more polite when you talk to strangers. Please be aware of common identity theft and other scams that are targeting our residents and our neighbors. Never hesitate to stop and tell a family member, a trusted coworker, or representative from your local police department, and get a guidance and assistance from us. I want to thank you for attending this presentation. This presentation was made possible by Chief of Police Christopher Badalora. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions now, I'd love to take them.
I will say this, don't for 1 minute think that we haven't seen every single one of these scams. They happen every day. Our residents fall victim every single day. This is a very common occurrence. So don't think that it won't happen to you, because our residents are falling victim every single day. It's a fact. We've seen it. And it's so difficult because our actors, our suspects are often not in Westfield. They're not in the state of New Jersey. In many instances, they're not even in the United States. So pursuing these matters criminally are often very difficult because of jurisdictional issues, signing complaints and making arrests elsewhere. So in many instances, there's not much we can do from a criminal investigatory standpoint in identifying and arresting an actor. It's not possible because they're not even in this country. So, I can't stress enough. We've seen this time and time again. It's an everyday occurrence here. Do not think that it will not happen to you, because it is. It is happening to our Westfield residents every single day.
Thank you.
Caroline, you have a question?
Yes, I have 2 questions, actually. Are there any downsides to doing the annualcreditreport.com?
No, there are no downsides. Everyone's entitled to it. Actually, it's a benefit to you, because when you see your history, you'll know exactly where your money is, where it's being spent. It's a good reminder. Honestly, it's a good reminder for myself as well, because then I know where my wife's spending my money. So it's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to check. There are no downsides to it.
And just a quick second question. Is there any problem when the Police Benevolent Association calls on the phone asking for money? Are they okay to give to?
Again, what I would just recommend is verifying who is on the other end, because they may say they're a Police Benevolent Association, but how do you know? That's always the question, because you really can't trust your caller ID. What I would recommend is saying, like, I do want to donate, but I will do so at a later time. And what you can always do is you can call them yourself. Google is your friend. You can, Google the number for the Benevolent Association, or you could just, call the police station directly and ask for someone from the police department to reach out to you. There's other ways we can handle it. I'm very skeptical of anyone calling me. I'm a police officer, so I'm on various lists. I get calls from all these different associations from all over the country. And sadly, I don't donate to any of them unless I do the research prior, because you just don't know who's on the other end.
Thank you.
Carolyn, I will tell you, the Westfield PBA does not solicit by telephone. We never have, and we likely never will, because too many people say they represent law enforcement organizations. Perhaps it makes them seem more believable, but we do not solicit by phone. So if you do get a phone call from the Westfield PBA, I would strongly suggest you call us and let us know, and we will tell you. To the best of my knowledge, in my entire career here, we've never solicited via telephone, and most PBAs don't, although some do use paid contractors to solicit. We do not. So if you're getting a phone call from someone claiming to represent the Westfield Police Department or the Westfield PBA, it is likely a scam.
Thank you. And I did get a call last week.
I don't doubt that. And like the detective said, the best thing you don't have to give money on the spot. Get the information, do some research, give us a call, get some guidance, some direction from someone you trust, a family member, or call us and let us do some background research, and we'll let you know if it appears to be legitimate or not. But in most instances, if anybody's calling representing the Westfield Police Department or the Westfield PBA seeking a donation, it is not legitimate.
Thank you again.
Question.
One thing,
Tactic-
Question.
people call,
I'm going to let you moderate the questions, all right?
oh, sorry. I just wanted to comment on that. One thing I find that helps when people call, I say, I'm interested, but I don't want to donate by phone. Please send me something in the mail. And a lot of times they just hang up then, because if it's not legitimate.
Interestingly, the PBA does solicit, but when they do solicit, it is via mail. So,
I have a question.
yes,
Go
Joe.
ahead.
Does that also apply to the Westfield Fire Department?
You know what? Once again, I'm not aware. The fire department does have a union. It's the FMBA. I'm not aware if they solicit by phone. I don't think they do. But same thing. If in doubt, call the firehouse. Ask to speak to somebody there, a representative from the FMBA. I believe they do their solicitation via mail, just like the PBA does. But if in doubt, do some research before you commit to anything.
Okay, thank
I have
you.
a question. Oh, sorry. Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
When you transfer money from Venmo and Zelle and even asking for your credit reports, to me, I X out of it because they're just asking too many questions. And I don't know if it's right to, like when you're asking for your credit report and they ask for your social security number, I never know, I'm not sure that I'm on the right site and if I should do that on my computer.
When it comes to credit reports, the Federal Trade Commission, the reason they offer a free credit report per person per year is because there are literally tens of thousands of instances of fraud happening every day and every week across our country. So they offer a free credit report because it's a guarantee that they're a legitimate government agency. And if you go through their website or you call them directly, you know that's a legitimate source. They're the only institution that I would recommend calling for a free credit report, because there are other services by the major credit bureaus, but you have to pay for them. Now, personally, if you could get it for free and you know it's a trusted source from the federal government, you can do that. And that's why they offer that service. But I wouldn't recommend going anywhere else to get a free credit report other than the Federal Trade Commission.
So it's okay to put your social security
Or the
number.
Federal Trade Commission it is.
And then if the banks are asking you security questions, are you saying that, say they ask for your hometown or your mother's maiden name or something, should you put something that is not true that you will remember is that what you're saying?
I recommend doing that because that's just one of those things. Say I was born in Newark, New Jersey. So if in every credit application I write, if I write Newark, New Jersey as my security question, anyone who accesses or they breach one of my credit accounts, if they get those answers, they'll have that for all the other institutions, which is why if you have another name, say I was born in Newark, New Jersey, but you write down I was born in Los Angeles, it's not connected to me directly. It's just something that I wrote down. You have to recall what they are so you don't forget it, obviously, for each one. But it's much harder for someone to try to crack your code, so to speak. Because anyone who tries to steal your identity, they're going to get some basic information. They're going to know your address. They're going to know your telephone number. They're going to know your first and last name. A lot of this information, sadly, is available on the dark web. There's people, again, they spend every day trying to take advantage of people. That's what they do. They're hustlers. So they will get information. But every now and then you also read, like in the newspaper or online, they say large institutions, like it could be a Bank of America or a Target. Some of these large companies, they're compromised, and then thousands of their accounts, the information is somehow put out there. So they do the best they can to try to keep everything confidential. But you always have to go with the notion that it's possible that someone has your information. So you have to make it as difficult for them as possible. Does that make sense?
Yes, good. That's a good one.
Yeah, Brad, you have a question?
Yeah, well, one point and a question too. One thing that I think, and you could tell us better, that I'd be leery of is if you get a call from someone claiming to be offering you the annual credit report, because you don't know if that person is truly calling from the organizations. So I think that everyone should make sure it's them calling those numbers or reaching by email, instead of if somebody calls you and says, oh, I have a free credit report for you.
Exactly. And also, if a bank calls you asking for your personal information, I would hang up immediately, because that's never going to happen. That personal information is your personal information. So they won't be calling you, asking you for your city of birth, your answer to this question or that. It's more than likely a scam. I would hang up immediately.
Okay, some messages have been popping up, and other people have said this too, on their cell phones. Third-party vendors coming from even the county regarding testing for COVID. And I don't know whether they're from they say, my name is so-and-so. This is information. And they want you to click on a site, and I delete those too. Useful information isn't getting to people because there are legit organizations that do this, but I'm afraid that I don't know whether it's legit or not. And
it's hard.
Third-party companies that are being hired to solicit things.
Yeah, sadly today, there are many companies that are hired to solicit for agencies. I mean, lots of different charitable companies, they just don't have like the manpower that the years ago, they used to have lots of volunteers donate their time to make phone calls, to prepare mailings. A lot of times these charitable organizations, they just don't have the time or the volunteers that they used to have. So they do hire companies to act on their behalf. All I can say is just be very careful who's calling you, because again, you just never know. So I'm the kind of person where if someone calls me, whatever it is, or whether I get a text message or an email, I'm not going to respond to that. I'm going to reach back at a later time after I do my research, just to verify that my hard-earned money is getting to where it's got to go, and it's the most feasible route to get there.
Thank
I
you.
have a question.
Go ahead, Miss.
During the holiday season, I use specific credit cards. So from year to year, I will try to open up those accounts to, well, first off, I won't remember my password, so I'll create a new password. So a community bank owns Gap, Lord & Taylor's, lots of them. And they ask for maybe my Gmail account, which I give them, and they say that's not enough. We want your the last 4 digits of your social security number in order to open up your account and get a new password. And I've done it, but I question it.
Well, anytime you're applying for any kind of credit card, you're opening up a line of credit. So that banking institution that's behind it, they are going to request that information. But again, that would be you filing a request with them. Usually the scams are when these companies reach out to you asking for the information from you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you're going to a certain company and you're filling out an application, like I say, you go to Lord & Taylor and you open up a line of credit there, or some other department store. If you're opening up the line of credit, you're filling out the application, then that is fine, because again, you're applying for a credit loan, you're applying for a credit card, whatever the financial instrument is. Again, what you need to worry about is when people are calling you asking for that information, because that more than likely that's where the scam lies.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, the grandparent scams that were brought up, they, from personal experience, are very, very true. My mom, who happens to live in Florida, about 6 months ago, got a call saying that they were calling from a police department and her grandson had been arrested and he needs money for bail. Now, my mom hung up the phone immediately because, one, she would realize in talking to me that she would not get a call like that. But two other of her friends in Florida also received the same type of phone call. So these grandparent phone scams are very prevalent in certain areas.
They do happen. And again, sometimes these people who are calling, they're very creative, and they're, again, I guess I use the word con artist, because they're good at taking advantage of people. A simple technique could be something as simple as the telephone rings and then the elderly woman answers. Hi, Grandma, do you know who this is? Billy, is that you? Yes, Grandma, it's Billy. And then they just continue with the questioning, and they get more and more information. And next thing you know, you actually believe that who you're speaking to is your grandchild or another loved one. Now, you may be thinking, well, this doesn't make sense. You know, Billy's only 9 years old. Why would he be in jail? But your heart is in the right place, and you're just thinking with your emotions rather than your logic. And that's where they take advantage of your big hearts. And that's why we have to, just be aware and spot the fraud before it happens, because you just have to think, stop, let me call my own son and daughter and find out, isn't the grandchild in school? Isn't the grandchild, with their parents? Why wouldn't they be calling me? Again, sometimes it's good to slow down, just stop everything and think, does this make sense? And if it doesn't, you could always call the local police department. They'll send an officer right to your house, and we'll get on the phone with them. And then very quickly, I'm sure they'll end the phone call.
It's also very intriguing nowadays how these scammers get local exchanges, because sometimes you'll see that it comes up on your phone ID that it's from Westfield or Cranford or Scotch Plains, and you'll think, oh, maybe it's somebody that I know that, that I just don't recognize the number. But they've become very, very good at getting local exchanges when they do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to say one more thing to reiterate what I do not think you are bothering us when you call us. So many times I hear, well, I didn't want to bother the police. We are here for that very explicit reason. We are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You are not bothering us when you call us. Believe me, I would much rather you call and ask us a question before you fall victim rather than call us afterwards and we're conducting a criminal investigation. So, do not think that. Do not use that as an excuse. I'm telling you, we are here to be bothered. Do not hesitate to pick up the phone and call us if you have a question.
Joyce, I saw your hand was up earlier. Do you have a question?
Yeah, yes. What is a robocall? I hear that word a lot. And can you tell when you look at your phone ID?
Well, a robocall simply is an automated telephone call. It's when you answer, a message comes up, an automated message. It's not a person on the other end of the line. And sometimes a caller ID, will say just a telephone number. Sometimes it will say, no identification available. It comes up in various ways. I just recommend if you get a robocaller or you get an automated message, just hang up.
Okay.
Just hang up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I want to thank you too. I had a call last week, I think 2 weeks ago, saying somebody is taking my identity. And I got a little scared. I called the police, Westfield police, and they told me disregard it. So I want to thank you for your help. That's
Exactly what you should have done, called us.
okay.
Any more questions? Yes.
I just wanted to add one thing to the grandparent scam, one that I've heard a couple of times. Instead of asking people to wire money, which a lot of people are familiar with, they'll ask you to get gift cards
Yep.
for your grandchild. And I know that's a big one in Target. A lot of times it's Target gift cards. And I know someone whose parent was scammed out of like several $1,000s because of that. So
Absolutely.
child too, that's not, not good.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's very reassuring to know that the police department is looking out and watching out for us like this, because we get so many, as seniors, we get so many calls.
Well, thank you for saying that. Again, here at the Westfield Police Department, I know I can speak on behalf of Chief Badaloro. His primary concern is the safety and the welfare of the residents of this town. He will stop at nothing to make sure everyone is safe, and he will stop at nothing to make sure that we offer every service possible to you all. That's why don't ever feel, no matter how small the question is, don't feel you can't call us. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year, overnights, holidays, weekends, it doesn't matter. We're here to serve our public with anything you need. We're happy to help. Correct, Chief?
That's absolutely correct.
One question, when you get a scam, should you just call the police department's direct line or 911? What's the best way to go?
I would call the non-emergency line unless you feel that it is an emergency. Now, if you feel there's someone at your door trying to scam you as it's happening, then I would say that's urgent and you could call 911. But if it's not an emergent matter, I would call the non-emergency line and we'll get an officer to you within minutes regardless.
The detective's right on the money there. If this is something that's in progress, if somebody's at your doorstep, if somebody's, right there in front of you, that's when we need to immediately know so that we can get resources over there as quick as possible. So that would be a prime instance in which you would dial 911. Otherwise, use our non-emergency number, 789-4000, press 0 for the dispatch center. But if there's something in progress, if there's someone present at your residence, you call us via 911.
Chief, I would just like to thank you guys again. Speaking like Deirdre and myself for Lifelong Westfield, you guys have been amazing partners. You make us all sleep a little easier at night, and especially through what we're all experiencing right now. There is definitely Corona fatigue out there, and it's great to know that you guys are always there for us. And as a resident 31 years and as a representative of Lifelong Westfield, I just want to really thank all you guys so very, very much.
Well, thank you, Brad. And I will tell you the virus, a lot of people are staying at home, but we are here. We are at work. We are doing our job day in and day out. It's impacted us, but it has not shut us down. We are still here doing our jobs. We are still here for you. So do not hesitate to call us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everybody. Have a
Everybody
great
have a
holiday
happy
season. All right. Take
Thank
care of
you.
yourself and be safe.
Thank you.
Thank
you all.
you.
Happy holidays.
Happy
You
holidays.
too.
Happy holidays.